Hello YouTube, Bill here with Blazing the Path, and today is a beautiful sunny day. So I figured it's a perfect day to take a trip to Nature's Pantry and collect a few items. We're down here at Hessfield, and let's see how many of these items that I need that I can find. Okay guys, the first item on my list is some sassafras. It makes amazing tea. The leaves can be used in gumbo if they're dried and adds a nice little flavor. And not too far from the road, I found my first item. There it is guys, the sassafras tree. We got 3 lobes on that, 3 on that one, half a leaf on that one, 1 leaf there. You can also have 2 lobes. When I came around, I saw this big old tree. That's a big sassafras tree, but I don't feel like trying to dig up something that huge. So let's go with right underneath the tree. There's 2 little ones that will be more than enough for some really good tea. I'm gonna dig this up and be right back at you. You know, it never fails. Every time you find a little root, there is a gigantic rock blocking its extraction. There we go. Whew, well, that was pretty big. Now, if we're looking here, this is what we want. This is sassafras root. I'll finish digging this up and I'll show you guys in just a second. Okay, so this little tree sprout is connected to much more than just a little taproot. We're going to break this off, get it out of the ground, and I believe this is more than enough for my use. And there you have it, the first item on my list, sassafras root. This will make some excellent tea. Let's get it in the bag and head on down the path. And before I forget, always fill in your holes. You don't want anybody else to come up here, twist an ankle. Not good. It's just etiquette. Good enough. All right, let's put this back in the bag. Put this in the bag and head out. The bag of bags, always useful in the woods. All right. All right, after finding that sassafras, we're back on the road heading towards the actual path. I'm gonna say now, I'm not gonna release the exact location of where I'm finding this stuff, but that's just to prevent over-harvesting. You only take what you need, you don't take more. Okay guys, just made it to the actual path. I'm gonna take my time, look around, enjoy this wondrous view, and try to check some items off my list. Now isn't that a view? So the next item I'm looking for is wild ginger. And I believe up here I see some. Wild ginger. There we go. Let's see if I can do this one-handed here. All right, these are the wild ginger leaves. But what we want is this root right here. You see that? That is the North American equivalent to European ginger. There's actually a couple right around here, so we're gonna harvest just a few because I have a few uses for this, including my foot tea And I might candy some for later. There we go. Now that's a nice little root right there. There we go. Shake the dirt off of that. There's another one. I'm going to finish up grabbing a few of these, putting them in the bag, and then heading on down the trail. We got a nice little handful here of wild ginger. We're going to throw this in the bag and keep on down the path. So I mentioned foot tea. Now, I'm sure a few of you are wondering what the heck foot tea actually is. Well, it involves 2 ingredients. 1, wild ginger, and 2, jewelweed. Now, jewelweed is a plant that has some interesting properties. It can remove the oils that cause the allergic reaction in things like poison ivy. It also takes care of athlete's foot fungus, which is the application I'm going to use it for here soon, as soon as I find it. Does anyone else use these hydration bladders? Honestly, this is my first time, and I'm finding that it gives it a weird taste. Let me know your experiences down in the comments. I made my way halfway up and around one half of the path, and there was absolutely no jewelweed where I expected it to be. So I'm making my way back down and around to the other half of the path. Fingers crossed, I'll be able to find some. So I got halfway back the path, about where I started, and I believe I found some jewelweed. Oh, okay. That is definitely jewelweed. All right, let's see if we can get down here safely. Okay. See that plant right there? We got jewelweed. Here's some jewelweed. Here's a big plant. Small one over here, and I think this is just enough for my applications. I'm going to harvest this, put it in my bag, hop back on the trail, and see what else we can find. 2 decent sized plants seem to be enough. Made it back to the car after looking around for another half hour. Nothing to be found that I could use right now, and I don't want to take anything that I'm not going to use right away. So, I do have one thing to say. This water bladder, I don't know what it is. I can't get that rubbery, plasticky, drinking out of a garden hose taste out of my mouth after drinking out of it. And don't get me wrong, it brings back fond memories of my childhood, but it's strong. It is rather strong. So I think I'm going to try to clean this out somehow, maybe get rid of the taste and try again. I'm not going to give up on it just yet, but I always carry a spare, and that works just well. But we're going to head back to the house, get the foot tea cooking. I'll show you how that's done, so stick around. And while that's going on, I'm going to make some sassafras tea. All right, so stick around, and we'll see you here in a few seconds. Back home now, so I'm going to rinse off the roots. Here's the ginger. Let's see. We'll get as much of the dirt off as possible. Just gently rubbing it. There we go. Separate them. This will get dirt out, any bits and pieces we don't want in there. Okay. And rinsing off the sassafras. Now we don't want to remove too much of the root bark. That's where all the flavor is at. So we just rub them gently. Then once they're nice and clean, we're going to lay them out on some paper towels. There we go. Pat them dry just ever so gently. There we go. Let them dry for a few. But if you're making foot tea, you can take a small handful, put it right into the pot you're going to be making it in. Then add in about 1 large jewelweed plant. After mixing it up a bit, we're going to cover it with some water and place it on to a low simmer for about 5 minutes. After about 5 minutes, you want to shut it off. Now you're going to let this set until it's cool enough to put your feet in. Okay, while the foot tea starts to cool down so we can use it, I'm going to make some sassafras tea. Now I took a small amount of the root, peeled off some of the root bark so the water can get to it quicker. I'm going to put it into a cup, pour some hot tap water over it, and I'm going to stick it in the microwave till it's just boiling and let it steep for a few minutes till I get a nice pink coloration. Now, if you want to, you can easily do this in a pot with a larger stick of it, but it's entirely up to you how much you actually want to make at a time. After your tea has steeped for a few minutes, take it, add the sweetener of your choice. It can be honey, sugar, what have you. I have a little bit of sugar in this glass. I'm just going to transfer it from this coffee mug into here so you can see the color. There we go. All right. And you don't really need to worry if there's little floaties in there. The root bark is entirely edible, though kind of strong. There we go. That's a nice light color, and the aroma coming off of this is amazing. Now, if you want to, you can always let it steep longer or boil longer, depending on what you're doing, and you'll get a richer color and definitely a stronger flavor. Now that our foot tea is done, we're going to strain it into a proper container after finding a comfortable spot to sit down. There we go. Oh, you can smell that wild ginger. There we go. All right. Then add the feet. Oh, that's nice and warm. You notice the color? Feels slightly astringent. Then you just let it soak, relax, sit back, and it's time to enjoy that sassafras tea. And there you have it. Ooh, put a little too much sugar in that, but it's really good. It kind of reminds me of root beer, but of course it does because that's one of the ingredients in root beer. I think now's as good a time as any to talk about safety. If you don't know what you're picking, don't pick it. There's so much stuff out there that can make you sick or worse. So, while your feet are soaking, sit back, relax, and enjoy the day. Hey everyone, I want to thank you for watching my premiere video. There's going to be much more content out here soon. So, if you liked it, please hit the like button, subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one.